extrude some embeds for my soap. I'm not going to do all the extruding on the video because you've seen me extrude loads of times. I just thought I'd spend just a little bit of time just showing you how I keep my soap dough. I make my soap dough up. I've got a video I'll link to. It shows you how I make my soap dough. And once I've made it up, I pour it either into a container or typically I pour it straight into a plastic bag and I let it saponify in a bag. And then once it's actually saponified, as you can see, these are fairly flat. You can see how it's just been left to saponify. I then label each one up with the colour. Mine also get a batch number and everything, so I can keep all proper batch records of each soap dough. And then I vacuum seal them. So as you can see here, this is actually double bagged and this is vacuum sealed. So this is not going to get any air into it at all. And that's a really good way of keeping your soap dough nice and fresh. Okay, so those are my various different soap doughs that I've got. And what I will do is I will just reuse these bags over and over again. So as I finish some soap dough, I'll wash the bag out, hang it on my washing line to dry, and then I just reuse them time and time again. Now for my sort of autumnal design, as we can see, I need to make lots of little autumn leaves. And these little autumn leaves are going to sit in the embeds and in the poured sections of my soap. So I need to make leaves for all of those areas. So as you can see here, I've just drawn out my design and I've just gone through and calculated how many red leaves, brown leaves and orange leaves I need, and I've worked that out. So I'm going to extrude those and then we can pop them into some embeds and leave some of them for when I actually do the main pour. Okay, so as you can see, I've done my red ones there. I've tried to lay them out as straight as possible, the ones that I need for my inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I've got 13 there. Well, I need 13, I've done 14. I've got some little extra ones here, just in case. But what I'm intending on doing with these is using them for embeds to go on the top of the soap, so they're already in the good shape. So I'm just going to repeat that for the orange and the brown. I don't need as many of those, so that'll be a little bit quicker. I've changed my mind a little bit about what I'm going to do on the top. And what I've done is I've grabbed some bits of soap dough, the same soap dough as I was using before, but a little bit of yellow as well. And rather than, if you remember, I was going to use a spare bit of extruded leaf and then chop it up into bits. What I'm going to do is actually, I've got some plungers that I'm going to use. So the first thing I'm going to do is whenever I roll out my soap dough, I'm not sure if you've been watching me for a while, you've seen these good old bags. They're the same ones. I think they're about 3 years old now, these bags. So I'm just going to roll out a little bit of soap dough. And I always just roll it out between some bags. That way it doesn't stick to your surfaces or anything. Doesn't have to be too accurate with the rolling. And then just peel that back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel the other side as well so it's ready to release. Okay, there we are. And then I've got some of these little pastry plungers and I'm just going to plunge some little leaves out. I'm just going to give a spray with rubbing alcohol so they release. So pop it in, press the plunger so it gives the imprint, and then pop out a little leaf, and you're going to get a really cute little leaf in those autumn colours. I think, can you see the thickness of that? I think that's a bit too thick, so I'm actually going to put that one back in. I'm going to roll that a bit thinner and then do that again. Yeah, I think these little thinner ones are going to be better. So I've finished all my little leaves and I've put them in a vacuum box where I'm going to vacuum seal them, and they've come out really pretty. I'm really pleased. with all of those. I've got some really lovely colours by just rolling that soap dough and sort of smushing it together. So I'm going to vacuum seal those up so that they don't dry out at all. And next, I'm going to make a little hedgehog. So I want them to be the size to fit on a bar of soap, which mine are 2.5 centimetres. I'm just doing a little test, and that sort of blob will be good. So that's about 2 grams, just over 2 grams of soap. And then I'm just going to do a very similar thing, but now with some gold colour soap dough. I just want to cut up some little bits off this. I'm just going to roll this one into a tube and then chop it up. So that is our first little hedgehog. And my plan is to combine them. I know these, they're a little bit out of scale, aren't they, the leaves compared to the hedgehog, but the plan is to combine it on the top of the soap, my little hedgehog with my pile of leaves for a little autumnal setting. So I'm going to carry on making all 11 hedgehogs that I need, 10 more to go, in exactly the same way. So get my little sort of oval shape, smush a little bit in it, get my smaller bit, and I'm not going to worry too much about the cone shape now because I had to reshape that at the end anyway. So let's pop that in together. Okay, so that looks like that. And then I'm just going to bring some of that brown over to cover up a good part of the face. Okay, and then I'm going to start. Now this time I'm going to start where I had to pick it up before. So I'm going to start from the back doing those spikes. So then I can put it down and not mess those spikes up. And then finish off by making the nose, little face more pointy. Here we are the next day, and I've unmoulded the embed soaps that we made. So there's my yellow one, and this is my reddy one. As you can see, it's all gone. It's not a bright, vibrant red, because remember I put quite a lot of that slightly discolouring fragrance oil in. So it has got a more rusty red, which I think is nice for autumn, actually. So that's good. The yellow, because I put a lighter amount of the fragrance oil, can you see it's possibly dulled a little bit, but that's not really been that affected. So what I want to do is I need to cut these embeds up, and for my design I worked out how big I wanted my squares in my design, and I've been mucking around with my soap cutter and various bits of, this is the thing that comes with my soap cutter so it slides along, and this is just a piece of acrylic I've got. Various things to get the exact size squares that I want. So, make sure. So what I'm going to do is I need to now slice this all up really carefully to get the embeds that I want. So, a bit nervous about doing this bit wrong. Okay, because I need these to be as square as possible. So, let's have a go at my first ones. Okay, so there's my first layer. And then what I want to do with these is I've got to then do them 15.2 centimetres the other way as well, because I want them to be square. Okay, so that will give me my little embeds that I'm going to have. Okay, so that's my two sides off. Okay, and that's looking quite good there. You can see I've got a tiny bit of embed showing there where it's moved a little bit, but other than that it looks pretty good.
What's it like to be the one that he turns to when he's out of answers? What's it like to be the one that he comes to when he wants to dance? And I wonder what's that like? I've got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name, and I'm running out of time. I wish you felt the same, and I'm acting stupid like every day. Don't know what to do or what I should say, 'cause I've got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name. What's it like to hold his hand when he tells you that you're all he wants? And it's midnight, oh, I'm thinking about him. I have got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name, and I'm running out of time. I wish you felt the same, and I'm acting stupid like every day. Don't know what to do or what I should say, 'cause I've got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name. I wanna hold his hand, 'cause I can't stop
When my shreds have set up a bit, I'm going to I'm not going to scrape them, I'm just going to sort of shape them a bit with a scraper. And I do this quite a lot when I do confetti soap, just to give it a little bit of a shape to the soap. You can't really scrape it because it will just make a very rough surface from the shreds. But this sort of just pushing down with a scraper does give it a little bit of a design. Now these are some of the spare leaves I had from my other soap. So I'm going to get these cut to size and pop those in. Okay, so there's all those packed in. I want my top coat to be a nice sort of lime green colour. I don't have a lime green in my assessment, so I'm going to have to make it up with the colours that I do, because I have a blue and a yellow. So I'm going to go in with the yellow first. Always start with a lighter colour when you're mixing. And then just a little bit of the blue. I'm just sort of doing 4 lots of yellow to 1 lot of blue here. Then let's just get this mixed or placed onto the top. I've actually got 2 of these soaps here, so let's get them both done together.
Would he understand if I told him how I feel about him? I have got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name.
Okay, then I'm just going to let those set up a bit before I put those embeds on the top. I think our top's set up enough now, so let's pop on our little embeds, our little hedgehogs that we made. So there we are. I'm really pleased with that little top actually, and I think I've ended up with just exactly the right number of leaves on there. So I'm just going to finish off the other one, and then I'm going to put them aside for the evening, and we'll cut them tomorrow. So here's our soap the next day, and I really like my little top. That's so cute, and the little autumn leaves and everything are really sweet. Right, let's get this cut up and hope we don't chop any hedgehogs in half. Okay, let's see what we've got. So it's going to be a fairly simple inside, isn't it? Because remember, I just had those embeds that I made but then cut the wrong size, so I couldn't really use them, so I've just effectively rebatched them by turning into shred for this soap. So yeah, so we can see there's my little inside. I quite like it, it's nice and simple. Did my ombre work? I don't know. I think if you really squint and try and imagine it, you can sort of see a little bit more red shred there and slightly less, a more yellowy shred there, but I think I'm really stretching it there. You know, if you looked at that, you would tiny bit darker at the bottom, but you wouldn't notice. So I think if I had more red shred, then it would have worked a little bit better. But there's my top there. I really like my tops. My little hedgehogs snuffling through those autumn leaves, and hopefully as I go along I won't have chopped any of those. So as I'm sort of failed rebatch soap. I know it's not an actual rebatch as in heat it all up type soap, as in like a failed soap that I've reinvented. I'm really pleased with those. The embeds that I was having on the top there were the original embeds that I was going to have on my other soap, so those didn't go to waste. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with like the little remake of that soap. So here's a picture of the final soap. I do actually really like it, and I'm quite pleased with the way that I've managed to change the mistake that I made previously and get quite a cute soap coming out of it. This soap, as well as various other sort of autumnal fall type soaps, is available for sale in the shop now. I'll put a link to the shop in the description below this video. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you like the soap. If you have, it would be great if you gave me a thumbs up and leave any comments in the comments section below. Thanks for watching everyone. Happy soaping!